What is up, Kat? Hey, hey,
Hi.
how are you? I saw your questions, a lot going on. Fill me in.
Yeah. So it's kind of a lot. I'm sorry for anyone that's asking questions and they might be overlooked, but there's just a lot to this story. Um, Me and this guy have been dating for a year and a half, and one of the conditions that I had when we first started dating was to cut off this person that he had had a past with, and they were friends still. Um, So he sent a message, cut her off from what I thought, but for about a year, I had a feeling they were still talking.
Mhm.
And he lied to me about it for that whole year. And I found out 2 months ago that they had still been talking. We tried to move past it. And he basically was like, why can't you just forgive and forget? Like, I don't understand why that's so hard for you to just forget about it because it happened a year ago.
Mhm.
And then, since I found out 2 months ago, I found out he's lied about other stuff, whether it's big or small. But the main reason why we fought that night was because he had been lying about staying after work and having drinks with certain coworkers that I don't feel comfortable him being alone with because they're girls, certain girls that have a history of getting with taken men. And the day before, I found out I was pregnant and I didn't know how to tell him. And so I find this out and I just got extremely upset. And we got into this huge argument. Um, Stuff was said on both of our ends that we're probably not proud of. He ended up ignoring me and trying to put something on to watch. And I grabbed the remote and I was kind of tapping his head and being like, why is it so hard for you to understand? Like, it's not that hard to not lie. It's not that hard to be honest. And he like grabbed the remote out of my hand and I tried to grab it back and point it at him for him to just talk to me. And it ended up, I guess, hitting his lip a bit and cutting it. And I had no idea. And he thought I did that on purpose. And so then he called me a bunch of names, tried kicking me out, called his parents into it. Um, and I ended up having to leave. And I was trying to apologize and say, I never meant to hurt you. That wasn't my intention. I didn't know that I had done that. And it's been 4 days. He hasn't talked to me. Don't know what he's doing. Don't know what he's thinking. That night when we were arguing, I ended up telling him that I was pregnant. Ended up telling his mom that I was pregnant. And I just don't know what to do because we also have a huge festival thing to go to in 2 weeks. And it's with friends, and I just don't know what to do. And so I don't know, I'm just like at a loss because he had pushed me during the argument to the ground. And I don't know, like it was just such a heat in the moment. And I just don't know how to fix this because I'm over here blaming myself. I don't know. And yes, I
Yeah,
am actually pregnant. I took a pregnancy test and it came out positive. So
sure. Yeah,
I didn't just
you're
make that up.
yeah, you're okay with not paying attention to the chat. Okay, you're definitely okay with that. So if let me, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you shared. Okay, so um, as you mentioned, you're pregnant. There was a
Yeah.
heated argument in regards to um, basically just what I'm understanding is access. Like he's had access to other women from his past and things of that sort that has made you uncomfortable due to past experiences. Um,
Yeah, it was like a
and
buildup of all the lies with other women. Yeah.
okay, yeah. And so in this heated argument, um, things were said. You have a remote, you're tapping him on the head, he ends up getting cut on his lip, but you said that he pushed you um to the ground. Was that after that? Was that beforehand?
That was so when I confronted him and I was literally just kind of tapping his head like when one taps their finger on their head to figure out why something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
He had tried to grab the remote and he just pushed me to the floor.
Okay.
And
And
then I'd
then
grab the remote back to try to point at him and say, why can't you just listen? And I didn't
mm,
realize where my grip was on the remote, I guess. And because we were standing really close to each other, it ended up tapping his lip and it cut it a bit. And then that's when he was like freaking out, saying I did it on purpose. I was like, no, like I didn't mean to, you know? I
mm-hmm.
would never.
Okay. Yeah, and so, um, tell me your age, sweetheart.
We're both 25.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Just
yeah.
wanted to be sure because again I have a barrage of ages I come across. So I think this is important to consider, right? Number one, in regards to the space, haven't heard from them in 4 days. Did you hear a response from the mom? In regards to
No,
when you said you were pregnant?
no. I mean, when
Okay.
I said it, she kind of just was a little confused and said, "What?" And then
Mm,
said, "Look, I think we just need to sleep this off." And so we all like went to bed. I went downstairs and slept in the guest room.
mm,
Um, and I just kind of went to sleep.
okay. Yeah. So here's a few things that I think is important to consider because um, I think anytime that there is physical altercations in conversations and moments like that, regardless of how heated they are, we do have a responsibility, not just as you, an individual, but also him as an individual, to respond, okay, in a regulated manner. And sometimes these moments have a way of exposing whether we have that capacity or not. And in this case, it shows that that wasn't present. And so we have to be willing to, I think, one, just take ownership of that and take ownership of the fact that regardless of what intentions were and all the things, there's a difference between intention and just simply direction, right? I didn't intend something to happen. However, it still happened. And that's not to create further shame about it. That's not to create further guilt about it. That's not to do any of those things, but that's just to simply live in a place of acceptance and realizing our role in the fallout and the behavior, so on and so forth. What we don't want to dismiss is a lot of things that played a role in the build up to that. Okay. And the patterns that you were seeing that led to that expression. Okay. Um, and so again, no one is absolved from the behaviors. No one is absolved from anything of that sort. As a man, he has to be responsible in his emotional regulation and capacity. So do we, right? So that we just don't turn into these big old brawls that could eventually, spill out of these things if we're not careful. But I would say this: you were aware of the patterns, and you wanted to confront it, and then this was his response. I want to ask you, um, based off of what you've seen and the patterns you've experienced, do you feel like this relationship still aligns with values that you find you need for relationships in the future and what you want?
So it does, especially when we're good. Like when we're good, we're amazing, but it feels like whenever I bring up something that he does,
Mm-hmm.
he just immediately shuts down or kind of just starts saying, "Oh, you're so dramatic. Oh, like you're this, you're that, like you're a bitch."
Mm,
And it just he pushes me away and I just kind of start panicking and I'm like, "Please, I just want to talk. I just want to talk. Like, please let's fix this." And he just tries to leave every single time. And then
yeah,
like I feel that's what happened with this is because I wanted to talk so bad that he pushed me away, not only mentally but physically. And
mm,
because I kept chasing the talk and wanting to fix it, that's what happened to,
yeah,
or I guess that's what led to this whole blow up. And then it just made it 10 times worse when all I wanted to do was talk it out.
yeah. And I think we have to realize certain signs in this space, because this isn't something obviously that we recognize as normal, nor does it really sound safe. And I know that there is a lot of connection, history, all the things that play a role in this relationship. But one of the things that we have to be mindful of is, as I said earlier, sometimes a lot of times, the quality of a relationship is dependent on what it can hold. And it seems like and sounds like this is where your capacity or the capacity of the relationship reaches its end when there's senses of accountability that needs to take place and he's unwilling to do that. And I think if you're seeing that now, um, we cannot expect you or anyone else to play Superman and change that and save that
Yeah.
and redirect that. And at the end of the day, he has to take responsibility and accountability for what he needs to get into agreement and alignment on in order to not just play a role in potential repair of a relationship, but actually to navigate relationships in a healthy way. From what this sounds like, it just doesn't sound like this is a safe space, and space is needed. And even though there's discomfort with the space that's granted, we cannot ignore that in the wake of him not taking accountability for what you were confronting him with, his response was to be abusive. His
Yeah.
response was to put on a role of domination. His response was reactive. His response was very feminine. Because any man who finds it safe enough to put his hands on a girl, he ain't never ran into a man before.
Yeah. I mean, it
But
just,
I'm,
it,
but I'll
it's,
say this, okay? Because I don't want to get some of my, because when I hear stuff like this, it just, yeah, this is it kind of it can ignite something in me. So I want to be mindful, okay? But I will say this, it isn't let this space happen,
mm,
okay? And I know how challenging that is because obviously you've gotten the news, you're pregnant, there's a lot going on in your mind, a lot of fears, a lot of just overwhelm that's present, and I don't want to dismiss that. But I
yeah.
think there's value behind the space that is happening right now because what you need to do is be willing to look at not what could be, but what is. I need you to take a hard look at what has already happened. And we're not giving excuses. We're not trying to paint pictures and narratives. We just want to call it what it is. And by calling it what it is, I want you to then compare that to what you've envisioned relationships to be in and for your life, according to your values, according to all these things. I think a good place to start is establishing some values. This is how we're going to get into alignment. Values, by definition, okay, not my own. Dr. Zeb, you guys have heard me reference him in his work plenty of times. He gives a very great definition of values: attitudes, principles, perspectives, and beliefs that govern your life among the world around you. Okay, attitudes, principles, perspectives, beliefs that govern your life among the world around you. And so I want you to come up with just even a small list, 5 to 7 things that you value. Okay. And I want you to think them through. And you might say things like, I value peace, safety, communication, accountability, all the things. Right. And I want you to look at that and I want you to say, is that a reflection of this relationship here?
Mm,
And if that is not a reflection of the relationship here, it is completely opposite to the things you say you value. Then this seems
right.
like this is a relationship that you're stepping out of your values to keep, to chase as a means of trying to feel comfortable, safe, all the things. And this is not, and then at that point, we're also playing a role in dysfunction because we're stepping out of values to have something that doesn't even align. And we can correct that. We can change that. It's not permanent, but allow this distance to be something that provides clarity because this is really, really important. If we're seeing behaviors like this now, we
Mm-hmm.
cannot say that this is not something that can't happen in the future. Marriage doesn't change behaviors. Marriage, when it is in fullness, when all these things are standard and everything is connected, yes, it has the ability to bring us closer in sanctification process. It brings us closer together. Marriage is supposed to be a mirror. Marriage is supposed to be a lot of things that as we are reflecting one another, we're helping build one another. But I cannot stress this enough. You putting a ring on that finger and him putting a ring on your finger because you're pregnant, because of all the things, is not a reason to get married, nor will it change the initial behaviors you're seeing. And we have to move with the aspect of saying, if what I'm seeing here is unacceptable, then what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see there is only going to repeat itself. And if there's no willingness to change these behaviors now, then there isn't going to be a willingness to change behaviors later just because we call each other husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to just allow this distance that you're having, as much as your anxiousness may try to tell you all the different stories and all the different things. Allow anxiousness to be something, obviously ride those waves. There's a lot going on there, but I want you to just get centered back into the present. I want you to get centered back into the moment. And I want you to just simply be honest with what you see and allow this distance to bring clarity on whether or not this is something you need to re engage in. And I know that there's a lot of fears in this because I'm also hearing this too. Like, I'm pregnant. I'm having a child with this person. That's a lot. I just want to acknowledge that that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to carry. That is a lot. But hear me. I would much rather. Now, again, this is me. Um, I really do believe that a child just needs one healthy parent. And sometimes these kind of situations pushes women to make a decision to go back to a place that isn't as safe, that is also has a role in what helped create this child, because I don't know if I would even be valuable beyond this moment to others if I step back out here and dated with a child, or
Yeah.
various different stories that come across that. Don't allow the results of the pregnancy to be something that says, hey, well, because we're pregnant and I've always wanted a two-parent household for my child, this is going to be the thing that influences me to stay,
Yeah.
because isn't that isn't the right reason to stay.
Mm.
And yes, is that the best decision? Absolutely. There's a good decisions, there's better decisions, and then there's best decisions. The best scenario, best decision, yes, two parents. A good decision is when there is one healthy parent, one unhealthy parent living together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody chose to be healthy, and even though the other person didn't choose that, will be okay. And then there's a
Yeah.
good decision. And sometimes that good decision just looks like, even if I'm the only healthy parent and I got to walk away from this other person that helped create this child, I'm going to be the individual that allows my child to see what healthiness looks like, even in the midst of process, not expecting perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to make a decision to come back to this out of fear of what things will look like without it. This is
Well,
where spiritual foundations and trusting God comes into play.
yeah. I think I'm a little confused because how can one go 4 days without talking to someone, knowing that their partner's pregnant? And I understand it was a very emotional argument, but I just don't know what to do. Like, do I reach out? Do I still just offer space to provide more clarity on both of our sides? Because I know this might sound insane, but I know neither of us meant to hurt each other, and I can stand on that from my end. I don't think he meant to hurt me, but I just
Okay.
don't know what to do in
Yeah.
that
And so
sense.
I don't want you to just focus on the physical, though, because I'm assuming this is the emotional aspect has happened before,
100%. Yeah.
right? And so this abuse isn't just physical. There's emotional aspects to this too. And the behaviors that he's exhibited as he's given access to previous women, all the things that you knew about, you've confronted him about, and he's been unwilling to address, to change, no matter how many times you brought it up. How long have you guys been together?
We've been together a year and a half,
Okay.
and since the beginning, I've always questioned him on his interactions with other women. He's downplayed it, and I found out it's all been kind of true. And he said he's changed and has changed in some ways, but yet
In what
he's still
ways?
over here. Um, he'll limit communication with them. He'll limit hanging, or like he doesn't hang out with them anymore.
Hmm.
But then, I hear he's staying after work, knowing I have to be up at 5 a.m. and I wait up until 12 a.m. for him to be off work. And he's going after work, having drinks with girls that he knows I'm not comfortable with him being alone with.
Hmm.
Whether there's other guys there, I just don't appreciate that. And he wouldn't communicate that and would say, no, I wasn't out drinking. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
And then I'd end up finding out he was, in fact, drinking on those nights when I'd question him.
Hmm.
And that's when he kind of blew up.
Mm, right. And so what we're seeing is a pattern of dealing with somebody who, when held accountable, doesn't know how to handle the accountability presented. And that shows trends and tendencies of unfortunate events that could arrive in the future.
Mm,
And I don't want you, just because you're in front of me. And it's so interesting that the people who probably need it more don't choose to come in environments like this. Not because he knows that this environment exists, but it's just very interesting to me that the people who are hurt or harmed worse in some aspect, regardless of the role that is given, find themselves in these conversations
mm,
more so than those who also need it. They may need it more. But I would say this. Yeah, I just hear that, and yes, there's a lot of trends that can come out of it. Yes, there are a lot of moments where emotional things can happen, but there's just some trends and patterns that we want to play and we want to see. And we've observed enough context within a year and a half to know what you're up against. And for it to come to a culmination of like to end or to have a moment like this says a lot. And I think it's something that we just don't want to ignore.
yeah.
And we want to take honest consideration of these things for your safety, for your now child's safety, and being in consideration of those things. And I think to deal with this, yeah, I would, is there any harm in sending a message? No. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer to that. Um, but I do realize that regardless of the message that you send in efforts to reconnect, have conversation, I really want you to make the most of this distance that is provided. We're not doing nothing here with this distance. We are engaging with it. And we're engaging with it by realigning our lives and our values.
Mm,
We're realigning with our values. And if our values tell us that this doesn't make sense, then we stay aligned with our values and we walk away. Yes, it seems like it's dangerous. It's a big step. It is crazy. Okay. All the things that could pop up in your mind in regards to what this could play out, how this could play out. But I really, this is just kind of where the spiritual foundation and a lot of work that I do here fits in. Because there are some decisions that we'll end up having to make that no, probably don't look like they have a winning formula in the front end, but is something that actually sets us up for greater in the back end. And it takes us taking a risk with some of that in order to see it. And I think this is one of those moments that you just want to consider it. You just want to consider it. Um, because I just would hate to see you come into this scenario and come back and everything comes back and it all feels like it's back to normal just for another moment like this to happen. And then we continuously convince ourselves it'll be different, it'll get better. Because these
yeah.
are perpetual behaviors that we're seeing, sweetheart. I do not want that to be the case for you.
Mm,
And I just think there's a way that you can maximize this opportunity by taking advantage of it and saying, hey, now that we have some distance, we're not as close. Distance provides clarity. So, what can I really see for what this relationship is, for who this person truly is? And then, based off of that, is this a relationship in person that makes the most sense for the life I want to live, for the love I
yeah.
believe I can have, for the safety that I know I want to engage in? You should never feel like you are in a situation where, in the event of bringing something up, you begin to fear for your safety and even to an extent for your life.
Yeah.
You should never, you should never be in a position with anyone where, in the event of bringing something up, that bothers you, especially with somebody who says that they have love for you, you don't feel safe to bring that up and not feel like you're in danger.
Mm.
That doesn't, no, for me, like that just don't sit well with me. And so I just think these are things you want to consider, um, and really get into a place of alignment to be able to decide, hey, like what decision makes most sense here.
Yeah.
And if your values somehow, some way tell you that this makes sense, I mean, listen, again, I can't make the decision for you.
Mm-hmm.
Prayers to you, like on all sides. But I say that because our values are typically going to be the thing that helps us make the decisions that we need to make in a healthy
Yeah.
way, in a safe way. God does not desire for you to be connected in a situation where you are in danger for your life or for your safety in the event of bringing something up to that person's attention that they're either missing or they're well aware of and they don't want to change. That is not love. And that is not a place where peace is cultivated. If anything, that's a place where peace is stolen, where peace is challenged, and in the worst ways.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to take that into consideration. And I really hope you take these thoughts into consideration. I really do. And I hope this was helpful to some degree.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And I do appreciate you taking your time. I feel like I haven't been able to talk to anyone with a spiritual sense
Mm-hmm.
for some guidance. So this was definitely much needed. And I really do appreciate you taking the time and hearing me out.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I pray for you really quickly? We'll do it live.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name, sweetheart?
Catherine, that's my name.
Catherine. Okay. Lord, we lift up Catherine. Big time decisions. But Lord, we know your authority. We know your presence and peace. And I just pray that you give her wisdom and discernment on this decision, to make a decision that keeps her safety in mind, that keeps you and your presence and your love in mind, that you would give her discernment to be able to see what is, and that she's able to make the healthiest decisions based off what is to move forward to where you'll have her, knowing, Lord, that where you are is always where it is safest, even if it goes against what we're familiar with. Lord, I pray for her, lift her up, give her wisdom, clarity in this process, protection in this process, knowing that she's safe in your arms as she moves with you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Catherine. All right. You
Okay.
follow up with me, send me a message. We'll stay in touch. Okay.
Okay, I'll
All
send
right.
you a message.
Absolutely. Take it easy.
Bye.
Oh, y'all give it up. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat for Catherine. That is some serious stuff, man. Yo, what's up, Will? What's happening, my boy? Man, y'all go check out Will. That's my guy, man. Will Diggs. Also a coach in this space. Y'all please go give him a shout out. Check out his page, check out his content, all the things. I've been able to see this brother grow over the last several months, man. And y'all be sure to check his stuff out. Um, but man, I really think those are some serious conversations, y'all. And this is the space to do it. This is the space to hold some tension in these areas, and navigate them in the healthiest of ways. This is where your spiritual foundation really needs to be present. It's really where it needs to be present. Um, and it really is something different. It really is something different. When you have a healthy spiritual foundation, it's situations like this that give you clarity, that gives you grounding, and that gives you discernment. Okay. Um, I am not somebody who is ever going to propose an idea that someone should stay in a situation where physical abuse and altercations are happening, uh, whether it's one time, it's happening often. You are not going to hear me be a proponent of being like, hey, no, y'all should try and work that out. Like, no, no. I'm probably going to tell you it makes sense to walk away. It doesn't sound safe. That is not a safe situation, environment. No, absolutely not. And I think it's something that we all just have to be honest about and take considerable thoughts to. Your values will tell you what decision makes sense and what decisions don't. And sometimes it takes some other people outside of that you'll hear that'll tell you, hey, fam, no, don't go back. Don't rush back. Don't hurry back. This is a moment. I hope she's still in the chat, and I'm not gonna step into no spiritual uh verbiage here. I really hope you're still in the chat, Catherine. This is this is actually, believe it or not, moments like this, a blessing in disguise. Because this is a separation that's giving you an invitation to get back into alignment with some things so you don't go back to something that actually will prove to be more detrimental for you and not healthy for you. If she isn't in the chat, I'll send her the message. Don't even worry. But like this is not this is a moment where you're given an opportunity to pause and you're given an opportunity to see things for what they really are so you don't hurry back to something that God don't even want you in the first place. And you have no business being in the first place. So don't hurry back. Don't rush back. I know the situation is glim or whatever word you want to put around that, but don't hurry back. Take your time, and this is a window of opportunity for you to get some things back in order so you don't hurry back to something that is not safe for you. You've seen what you need to see. Don't let him fool you like that no more. And I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Y'all gonna learn real quick. Y'all longer y'all hang around me, the longer y'all hang around this platform. I just don't play about certain stuff. Okay. I got a lot of love for the sisters. I got a lot of love for the brothers, bro. I really do. And there's just a lot of stuff I don't play about when it come to y'all. I don't play about it when it comes to the ladies. I don't play about it when it comes to the fella. I just don't. Roll with me long enough, you gonna see it. I just don't, man. There's some stuff, man, we do not have time to play around and flirt around with, bro. We just don't. So I'll keep it straight so you can see it. But listen, just this is a moment you're invited to take some serious pausing and see it for what it is so you don't start going back to something you don't need to be a part of. And that's it.